All right, to a heartwarming story now. You may be wondering why musician Kabelo Mabalane and Danny K are on the couch. Well, these gentlemen have raised over 7 million rand to help build libraries in townships and rural areas. They're involved in charity work through their Shout Foundation. Gentlemen, thank you both for coming through. Let me start with you, KB.
Sure.
What caused you to open up this foundation, and why get involved in this kind of work?
So, I mean, 11 years ago, after the death of Lucky Dube, this gentleman approached me and he said, you know, I think we need to get together and protect brand South Africa as musicians and people in the entertainment industry, you know, put out positive messaging out there, get a whole collective of sportsmen, models, actresses, just use entertainment to put out positive messaging out there to, you know, to curb the crime pandemic. And, you know, we kind of started out raising money and, you know, giving the police garments, you know, giving drug addicts, you know, funds to get through to rehab, but we realized that we're kind of shooting in the dark, and if we're going to deal with crime, you know, we've got to deal with one of the causes of crime, which is a lack of education, which, you know, brought us to where we're at today. We partnered with our advertising agency, and we came up with this library project, and we feel that if we can you know, touch a young mind and inspire a young mind onto a different trajectory, you know, we can change lives.
Danny, let's bring you in. Talk to me about how many libraries have either been built or are going to be built. I mean, you've now raised 7 million rand.
Yeah, so as Kabelo said, this is it's kind of the last you know, sort of phase of our fundraising. So we started in, or the most recent phase, we started in a different area, but now it's libraries. So in the past, maybe 3-4 years, we've raised this amount of money, and we've built 10 libraries. And our mandate was to build them across the country. So we didn't only want them in Johannesburg. You know, you'll find them as far as Kuruman and Palabora and Mitchell's Plain and Soweto. And Alex, we really try to spread the love as much as we can. 10 are up. They'll, please God, be up for many, many years, servicing tens and thousands of kids. And we're about to build our 11th. And now we're looking at South Africa and corporate South Africa in particular, going, the kids are our future, as the saying goes. They are your future customers. We've got a blueprint on how to build these wonderful facilities. So join us. We're an NGO, we're an NPO. We're reaching out and saying, you know, give us your CSR money and let us do some good. And that's kind of why sitting on shows like this is wonderful, because we get to communicate that message.
So KB, this amount of money being raised on a very important year like this one, it's Madiba's centenary celebrations. We know how much he cared about education, particularly educating children. Of course, it's also the year, 100th year. It would have been the 100th year celebration of Mama Sisulu, Albertina Sisulu. How are you partnering at all with organizations such as the Nelson Mandela Foundation, and who else would you want to bring on board to partner with you?
We've partnered officially, unofficially rather, you know, along the journey with the Nelson Mandela Foundation. They also, you know, have their own library project, but we, you know, we don't have a monopoly on education and building libraries. So we open to partnerships. We're speaking to various, you know, number of people, which I can't mention now because, you know, the contracts aren't in place, but we open to work. We are inspired by the likes of Mama Albertina Sisulu, Nelson Mandela, to carry on, you know, the mantle. So we open for business, like President Mnangagwa said, you know.
Danny, you mentioned Zimbabwe. It's a very important story, by the way, because it actually needs to rise from the ashes, and 6 people dying during the course of an election is really not something to gloss over. But it's important that, Danny, I ask this question. How many kids' lives have been touched thus far?
Well, you know, when we started building these libraries, we really didn't realize how important these buildings would be in the lives of these children. So when we go, you know, to these schools, and we put them in schools quite strategically because, and primary schools in particular, because it's at that critical age that a kid's life can go left or right. And when we see just the whole school's energy lift and the looks on these kids' faces, just the privilege of having a beautiful building. You know, we really don't spare any expense in building these libraries. They're very, very special. They're bright, they're colorful, they're buildings of love, and they resonate throughout the school. So we've seen in the data that we've collected that literacy, numeracy have a massive spike the minute that these buildings go in. So it's not just fluff, it's not just a pretty building, it really does have very real impact. And as a short story, the one we built in Soweto, one of the girls that were learning at the library won the regional spelling bee and accredited the building of the Shout Library as her motivation to read and spell better. So like small things like that have dramatic consequences on a child's life. So, you know, the power of a book got us where we are today. I'm sure got you where you are today. So, but, you know, we got to give more kids that opportunity.
Fantastic work. Gentlemen, if people want to get in touch with you in order to contribute, where do they get a hold of you?
I guess on all our social media platforms, you know, Danny's social media platforms, mine, at Shout SA on Twitter, or you can go to www.shoutsa.com.
Fantastic news. And I don't know if I want to throw a curveball at you guys.
Okay.
There is an award ceremony that's happening today in Soweto. It's called the Mzansi Kwaito and House Music Awards. It's led by a lady, the CEO that was here just a moment ago, and what she's decided to do was to put in her lineup of musicians who are going to perform the Bricks, the convicted rapist. And the justification she has for putting him on the lineup, given that he's still paying his dues to society for raping a child, is that she's owed money. Is there any advice that you can give to someone like that? I mean, what does that do? You guys are musicians, in particular. Kabelo, you were involved in Kwaito. How does this sit with you?
Look, I think from the award ceremony is still a fledgling award ceremony. And I don't think it's great PR, you know, for the Kwaito and House Music Awards because obviously, like you said, you know, Bricks is still kind of in the middle of sorting his you know, sorting out his dues to society, you know. But I guess, you know, my mom always said, "Show me the parent, I'll show you the child." You know, so I think we learn a lot from our leaders as well, you know, who still need to serve, you know, their sentences, so to speak, but aren't doing so. So I think, you know, we're getting our kind of example from the top.
All right, Danny, quickly, you want to add anything?
Look, you know, I think, you know, what Kabelo and I can just speak for us. You know, what we try to do is really, you know, take the example, as you spoke of Tata and you know, all the greats that have gone before us, to just try to live our lives as a representation of what maybe the entertainment industry should be doing, using our profile for the right thing, spending whatever celebrity currency we have, doing good. And you know, we're hoping that the next generation of musicians will look at Shout and look at what we're doing and, you know, get their act together to say, you've got a tremendous responsibility when you get this gift of profile. And whether you're a Bricks or you're a Mandoza or Kabelo or Danica, you know, you've got to be very aware of your life. So we're just hoping that some of the stuff we're doing can inspire not only events organizers, but artists themselves to do and give back for South Africa.
All right, gentlemen, we're completely out of time. Thank you very much for using your profiles for all the right reasons. Danny K and Kabelo Mabalane joining us in studio here to talk about their charity work. Well.